Well, of course, my background all those years in law enforcement and special response unit and investigations and all that, I spent a lot of time working with our schools as well there in Decatur, with school safety.
Okay.
And over those years, developed a lot of relationships with folks all across the state that were concerned about the safety in our schools and primarily, response to emergencies. And so since 2018, I've been working with a company called Inside, and we do, it's a school safety software or a cloud-based platform that helps schools to organize their emergency response planning. You put that many years into anything, you hate to just go home and try to forget it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it worked out very well for me just to continue those efforts and the passion I have there just for, trying to be, to some extent, it was still serving the public, and obviously over the last several years, and unfortunately even in the last few weeks here this summer, seeing those tragedies that still happen in our schools, there's a lot of work to do yet. Well, our, and some of it's a generational thing. I think the younger guys that I worked with and ladies there at Decatur even coming on, the concept of staying with a job, 25, 30 years and retiring is a little bit different in the younger generation. They see it a lot more as of a fluid kind of thing where, you get your 401k and you can jump from job to job when you need to, and that still goes with you. But I still see the importance of our retirement system and the stability that's in that, that's been there for us. And so both those who have retired now and are in the system, the retirement system of Alabama, and those who are coming behind us, I think it's very important to maintain that stability in the system. And I think that it's still, in my opinion, better than that, if you will, the volatility that's there in like a 401k and those kind of things. I still think it's one of, if not the steadiest across the country. And organizations like this help us to continue to support that, to get the word out about that, how that it can continue to support them in their careers, but then obviously afterwards to give that long-term stability. I think it's very important that we continue to have our relationships with the legislature. Being a former legislator myself, I know that it was important to me to hear from the constituents and the retirees about what was happening to them and how the everyday economy and those kind of things are affecting them in retirement. And so most of those guys down there and ladies in the legislature come from a diverse, background all over the place in their careers and backgrounds and that. And they need to hear from us as state retirees and how the legislature, the things that they're doing there affect us in both prior to and after retirement. And so our relationship with them is critical. And I think that going into the next, especially now with the volatility of the economy right now, it's the inflation, things like that that's happened over the last few years here we've seen probably affect retirees more than anyone else because they don't have most don't have the ability to adapt and adjust to that. They're in the path that they're in, right? Yeah. And if the cost of bread goes up, your salary, you can't move to a new job, right? You can't do anything to ask for a raise. And so that, even with our push for the legislature about a COLA, is important to find the right balance to that. I understand the challenges that the state legislature has with the budgets and all the things they need to do, but they need to see this as a piece of that, and that the retiree system stays stable, number one, and then secondly, we find ways to find that balance to give these folks some adjustability in this economy we're in too and having to deal with. And so that's going to take relationships and communication. And organizations like this are so important for us to speak with one voice to those folks. That's a lot more powerful when we come together as a lobbying group together. Well, it would definitely impact it. I know obviously when I retired, I understood how the system worked and that this is the amount you're going to get. What I didn't anticipate, even as much knowledge as I had about it, is those other increases that are going to reduce that amount, whether it's inflation, and especially, like, for instance, the cost of my local insurance, my healthcare insurance there, until, and I know it will affect me while I'm still paying that local amount through the local provider. But then once I reach that age where it moves over, it's going to continue to affect me. That check that I've anticipated from the stability from retirement is being dwindled and eaten away at by some of these other things. And so I think that's what we got to look at. Well, again, I think it's very important, obviously, that we build our numbers. And I think that's really just about building the awareness of who we are, what we do, what the organization is designed for, and how it can be a benefit to those folks. I know we're talking about updating our website and those sort of things. The retirees coming on now are more savvy to that than ever before. Having to the retirees that they, it's easy to say, well, they knew what they were getting when they retired. Yes, but they didn't know how this economy was going to affect that amount and how quickly it would be reduced by these other impacts. And I think if they see that, and there's a light shown on that, if you will, the legislature and those guys down there really do, I think, have a lot of respect for the state employees, local employees. I just think they've lost a little bit of perspective on what I'm saying, of how much this economy is affecting that stability that we once had in the retirement system. It's important that we build our relationships with the legislature and with our folks, not only who have already retired, but those who are going to retire. And I have a lot of those connections on both sides already, and I hope that I can be a productive member of the board here in ideas about how to go about doing that.